that oil leak should be all set.
Hi guys, welcome to Chop of History today. We're going to have Xavier from Providence Cycle Works on here, but I wanted to talk about a few things first. Don't forget the smokeout is, it's already next weekend.
Yeah, it's next weekend.
Next weekend. So September 8th to the 10th. That's in Salisbury, North Carolina. DP will be there, and on Saturday there is a Perowitz edition.
Yeah, to the paint show. Well, actually, it's Cycle Source's custom bike show, and we're going to do 2 separate awards for paint. So it'll be a very small Perowitz paint show, but I'm only giving out 2 awards for best paint and best flame job. So
there you go. If you got a bike with flames, enter it in because you win that skateboard deck. If any of you guys pay attention to our Facebook or Instagram, you saw that I posted a video of DP taping the skateboard deck, and then I posted one yesterday with it all taped, in which today it has color on it, right?
It has color on it. We still have to outline it and letter it.
So we'll post a picture today with the color. So pay attention. That's on our Instagram page. So if you guys are on Instagram, go over to the Perowitz Instagram. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's Perowitz_CycleFab. Go over there and give us a follow. Or my Instagram's Jody Perowitz, and then his D Perowitz. So give us a follow on Instagram. Also, which, you know what? I'll get to the rest of this. Let's just bring Xavier.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Did you say that who our sponsors are on the show? Indian, Law Tigers.
Shout out to Indian and Law Tigers. Let me put that down the bottom right here. Although, sorry, what would be like without DP's phone ringing? There we go. All right. Sorry, DP's gotta take that call for 1 minute. But you know what? I was gonna add. Let me go to some of these comments. Let's see, because I know it's a bunch of people on here. Hey, Nancy from Maryland. Stephen Drago. I wish it was June still too. I hate that it's September 1st already. Time flies. Just dropped a new Cannonball video. Ooh, I haven't watched probably the last few Cannonball videos. So if any of you guys pay attention to the Cannonball stuff, Jason did a whole series of videos on the Cannonball from last year. There's a bunch of good videos. So obviously they dropped a new one. Steve from North Providence. Eric from Missouri. Doug Francie from Flag Street, good old Flag Street where I grew up. The dude. What's up, the dude? Thank you guys for always commenting. Keep doing that, because that's what keeps us going, is comments as well as shares. So like, share, all that. Make sure you do that. Jeff Seller from Wisconsin. Mark Hendricks. What's up, Mark? Hopefully Ashley's in the booth painting, which Ashley is going to be doing a trophy as well for the Perowitz Paint Show in North Carolina, Salisbury, at the Smokeout next weekend. Craig Ferry. All right, so let's just I'm going to bring Xavier on. Okay, back anyways. What's up, X?
What's going on?
Hey, Xavier, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? I love that. You're like, excuse me. And then you come back, you're like, okay, cut, let's go.
Yeah.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Such a consummate professional. I love it.
Yeah, I said that. I said we're very grassroots. We just kind of candid, go with the flow. You never know what's going to happen.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. That's it.
So are you down for the smokeout?
I am. I will be leaving, I believe, Sunday or Monday with the High Seas Rally bike, my FXR, and Mr. Rick Bray's Shovelhead Solomon, and then another bike that I have. So I'll have 4 deep and setting up there with the High Seas Rally as well as my own tent. So yeah, man, we're going to come and represent hardcore. We're like super excited for this.
Great,
hey,
great.
So I see Rick Bray is on here, which is an awesome bit. With Rick, we got to have you on here.
Yeah, you need.
Are you bringing his knuckle?
No. I'm bringing Solomon his shovel. The knuckle, I believe, was spoken for that weekend for some reason. So he's shipping me Solomon here, and then I'm going to take that up there for him, and then I'm going to keep it here because I'm going to take that to to the cruise. So we're going to have that bike
Wow.
on the boat. Yeah. So
Okay. Now,
if
where
I
are
can
you
get that thing to fit. I'm in
Where are
Austin,
you
Texas.
located? In
I'm
Texas?
right smack dab in the middle of Austin, Texas.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
You know? Oh,
Well,
right
very
in the
cool.
middle of the state, right in the middle of Texas is Austin. I mean, kind of like by Dallas, but yeah, not
Yeah.
so much. So yeah.
Like Dallas, but not.
You
So-
know, Dallas, it's just yeah, it's a whole other world over there. So you know.
Yeah, I agree. So the cruise that we're talking about, for any of you guys watching, if you want to come on it with us, October 29th to November 5th, it's the High Seas Rally. And we always say that drinks are on us, so maybe this show, drinks can be on you.
I mean, there's going to be a lot.
Drinks are on
There's going to be a
Xavier.
lot. There's going to be a lot. Please, yes, all on me. There's going to be a lot of drinks spilled on a lot of people. To be honest with you, yeah. I mean, it's been 2 years, a little over 2.5 years in the making since they first contracted me to build the bike for them. When I was still building out of my garage at my house, and just because of the pandemic and everything got pushed and this and that, they felt that it was necessary to just wait and do it right. And I'm glad they did, because, you know, we've had such an amazing turnout the last year. I mean, from Sturgis last year to this year,
Yeah.
it's just been piling up. And then, of course, with you guys coming on and Paul Yaffe, Bagger Nation, and a lot of the hamsters. So there's a lot of people that I think they were waiting. I really think they were just kind of like, okay, is this thing going to go down? Is it not going to go down? Because
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
a lot
agree.
of the public didn't understand and didn't know, because they didn't do the research. And even if they were to book a cabin and they decided to pull out, that they got a full refund, period. No questions asked, nothing.
Wow.
So I
That's
get
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah. I get that the public was kind of like a little gun shy to see what was going to go on. But from this point forward, you know, they've lifted up all the mandates, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, it's wide open now. And
Yeah, which is
people
so
are
awesome. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because we were
Yeah.
just talking about that a while ago. I didn't even know about that so now you don't have to have vaccines, nothing.
Nothing. The Carnival Cruise Line has lifted the mandates as far as everything that the High Seas Rally and Entertainment Cruise Productions knows to this very moment. So, for all intents and purposes, it's time. Let's go. You know, it's been a long, and you know, to be really transparent, I got the gig from a girl who used to be my production manager in Buck Cherry. Her husband is one of the main guys on the table, and they decided they wanted to do this custom bike, and nobody knew anybody, and they threw my name in the hat. 2 days later, they were in my garage. 3 days later, there was a contract, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So from that inception to like right now, and everything that has happened, you know, taking the bike around to all the rallies and showing people and making them aware of what's going on, the free drink package, all amazing talent, you know, and the fact that people
it's not free drinks, it's drinks on us.
Oh, it's drinks on us. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of free going on in there where you just
Yeah,
place
it's
it
awesome.
wherever you want. And you know, the fact that people that would never ordinarily get the chance to stand next to Dave Perowitz while he's getting his pancakes and coffee and go, hey, Dave, you remember that bike you did back in 70? Oh, yeah. That's what the people are so excited about, because, you know,
Or in the line to the men's room, right?
all day long, all day. What are you doing, Dave? I got to go. I'm going to the pissa, or however you guys say it. So,
yeah.
You know, but there so many people that I talk to are excited about that fact. You and Jody and Paul and a bunch of the people that they would never get a chance to just hang out with. So we're super stoked, and we still have one more rally left to do, or two actually, the Smoke Out, and then Biketoberfest in Daytona in October. And then the entire, myself and Chris come back here, and the band gets ready, and we do, you know, a week's worth of rehearsals. And then it's go time, man. I mean, it's rock and roll, it's drinks, it's motorcycles, and there's going to be vendors on the boat selling stuff. And this, like you just were talking about earlier, Jody, there's going to be so many amazing things that are being auctioned off on this boat for all the charities that High Seas Rally is involved with. Wounded Warrior, the Dialysis Foundation. And I happen to have in my possession, because I wouldn't let anybody take this.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah,
I have
cool.
it. So this is one of the items that will be on the auction. And I mean, people are going to go balls crazy for this thing, man. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's like,
yeah, it's cool.
I mean, if I wasn't a stand-up cat, I would keep this, But so, and again, I mean, it's such an honor to have, you guys there. And again, Paul and all the people that have been such an iconic figure in the motorcycle industry for so long, Chris Callan coming on with all of his media knowledge, which I have none of. And just a great cause, a good time, and a lot of awesome rock and roll, man. Like my guys are so excited. They can't even sit still, so.
Well, I'll tell you what I got to say is that the High Seas Cruise is extremely lucky to have you as a representative. And
Thank you.
I mean, I go to all the rallies, as you know, and I see you at all these rallies promoting. You built that beautiful bike.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, listen.
Yeah.
They're lucky to have you, Xavier, to do.
Thank you.
To put all the effort you've put in it. I just hope they're paying you big money.
Lots of money.
Right. Because you're worth every penny of it.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you for that. That means so much more to me than you can possibly imagine. I did this specifically for one major reason. When I found out that the dialysis foundation was on that boat, a lot of people don't understand what that is. My brother is on dialysis, and what that is he sits in a chair 3 times a week for 4 hours at a time to filter his blood. And it really makes it hard for people that are going through something like that, like it is for any other medical situation or condition, to have a life. So this boat literally pays for doctors, machines, nurses, the caretakers, and the patient to come on and have a week's worth of, amazing life. So when they told me about that, my pay isn't so much in a monetary stance, but yes, I've got to keep the lights on in the shop, but it was more about just doing the right thing, man, and I've been so blessed and so fortunate in my life to have had an amazing musical career where it took me to places and I saw things I never, ever would have dreamed of. Now coming into the motorcycle industry and having mentors like you and Paul and Billy Lane and Paul Cox and Jeff Cochran and all these guys that have literally done this to me, that's where it's at, man. So the payback for me is just being able to get on that boat, see everybody have a good time, get off the boat and go, okay, what are we doing next year to make it bigger and better? How do we do that? So, and again, having guys like Rick Bray, Jason Hallman, Tom Kiefer, I invited all those guys on as my friends, as invited builders to expo their work, but to also just bring a little bit more custom aspect to the normalcy that a lot of the ship goers are accustomed to seeing if they don't go to rallies the way we do. So it's not only a privilege, but it is an honor to be associated with something like that. So thank you so much for the recognition. And I think that I, as well as everybody else, because it's a super group effort with you guys, are going to pull something off that a lot of people have never, ever seen. I mean, they've seen the hogs on the high seas. They've done those type of rallies that were HOG related, and that's cool. But I don't think there's ever been an association of rock and roll, custom motorcycles, and the people in the industry that really, really matter, that are trying to keep the industry moving forward and alive. That's all we're trying to do. Myself and Rick and all the guys that are super pumped about having icons like yourself there to just kind of soak up that thing that we all love, And the guys at High Seas Rally, they don't really know what's going on. They're just kind of like, okay, we've got a boat, we've got a bunch of motorcycle dudes, and we're selling cabins, and okay, cool. But they don't really understand this world. So I'm literally learning more and more about it every day. And just having a good time doing it, man. If I get to wake up in the morning and breathe and hit the lights and they come on, I'm golden, man. I'm golden.
Hey, Xavier, tell us about the bike that people can win. So how do you win? How are they going to win this bike? And tell us about the bike.
If they have booked a cabin on the High Seas Rally, they are automatically entered to win that bike. It is a 50-state legal motorcycle, being that it has every requirement, because I never put turn signals and horns on any of my shit. But because this is not my motorcycle, if somebody were to win this from Georgia, I don't want them to have any problems with title issuing or horns or turn signals or anything like that. So it's basically just a simple, tight little chopper around an 80-inch SNS. Oh, it's got an RKB frame, black bike wheels, 5-speed HD transmission case with Jim's guts. It's got the M unit, which is the Bluetooth capable electronic system that you can hook up to your phone, which will it will read miles per hour, RPM, engine temperature, all that kind of cool shit, completely programmable. I made as much on that motorcycle as I possibly could, because again, I had 2 years from the inception and I couldn't leave anything alone. So I started remessing with stuff. I'm sure you guys are really familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm sure you're nitpicking it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, oh, and then Rick would go, hey dude, what about this? Yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. How do you bend this metal around this other thing and rivets, and nobody makes little 1032 top hat bungs. Okay. There I am on the lathe for a full day making 30 of them, but it was an amazing experience. And that's why I threw the kitchen sink literally at that motorcycle, because I want whoever wins that to understand how important that bike is because of my relation to the company as well as the Dialysis Foundation. And I hope, and I say this every time somebody's interested at a rally, I hope a female wins it, because I would really love to see a girl riding that motorcycle. It would just make my heart so happy. But if a dude wins it, that's cool too. So yes, if you have booked a room on the High Seas Rally Cruise, you are automatically entered to win that bike. I get to walk up to somebody, give them the fob at the end of that cruise in a big theater and go, congratulations, call me if you have any issues.
That's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, very
It's cool. It's cool. And like I said before, they had always given away a Harley or a Polaris or an Indian completely stock, which is fantastic as well to win a motorcycle, period.
Yeah, but to win something that you can't buy.
They wanted something that was, and that's when that came up in the meeting. How about a full-blown custom? Nobody knew anybody except for, one of the guys, his wife used to be, work for me in the band. And it just was so organic that like, I was sitting there like going, what just happened? Because again, none of this was supposed to happen. I left the rock and roll touring industry and I was going to a little tinker in bikes and this and that and that and this. And a couple of shows later and Easy Rider Bike of the Year. And then Chris Callan and Billy and all these other guys were like, yeah, you probably should think about this. And, here I am. So
that's very cool. And I'm excited for the cruise itself, because I think there's going to be a lot of good people. I'm a little nervous about being on a ship for 7 days and not going crazy.
Listen. Let me tell you. I've done enough of these in the band situation where, again, nobody cares about the islands. They just want to stand next to Dave Perez while he's getting orange juice and ask him about a paint job from 77. The greatest thing about this cruise is that you don't spend a lot of time on the water. Every morning when you wake up, you're at a port. So you get off the boat, you go do an excursion. I'm going to go swimming with pigs.
Oh, yeah, I'm in.
Pigs,
I want to do
pigs.
it too.
I'm going swimming with pigs.
Yeah, you should do that too.
What's up with that?
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
I've heard
if you go to the highseasrally.com, you guys as seagoers, you can go in and book those excursions. So I'm going swimming with pigs, snorkeling. I'm going to sit on a cabana at the beach and watch everybody get hammered, and then probably have to carry everybody home.
I'm one of those that I'm going to be the first one off and the last one back on. I'm going to soak up.
I will be right there with you. I will be right there because I'm the same way. I'm the same way, Jody. Trust me. The more time that I don't have to be on there, the better. Because the coolest thing is you get off, you go to these excursions. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock. You got to go. You get back up to the boat. You go take a shower. You go to the master room and you have your dinner and you do your thing. And then you go see a band, or you gamble, or you go to one of the comedy shows, or you go to so many events where they are throwing money at you. Like there's a costume ball, there's a pirate ball, there's a best leather. It's crazy. You're going to get off the boat, Jody, and you're going to go, oh my God, I'm so tired. I need a vacation from my vacation.
So because they would tell me I'm going to get to call bingo.
Yeah. There's bingo.
You're going to be the bingo lady?
Bingo.
Yes. There's live karaoke with a real band and you sing. And then for a lot of the not the guy, just the guys, but a lot of the passengers, there's massive question and answer panels that Dave will be on, and Paul
yeah,
and,
we're doing that too.
and myself. You see, there's tons of stuff to do.
Yeah.
So really, when you wake up in the morning, get off the boat, go rent a dune buggy, go swimming with turtles and pigs, do your thing, and then come back, and then you have the social life. And by the time you realize it, hell, it's midnight, 1 o'clock, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't stay up late anymore. I'm out.
No,
So
us either.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Oops. Sorry.
So yeah.
So we're excited about it. So any of you guys listening, if you're just tuning in, that we're talking about the High Seas Rally. So once again, October 29th to November 5th. If you guys want to come on the cruise with us, it's highsearally.com to book your cabin. And drinks are on us. And if you use the promo code Perowitz, you'll get $100 off your cabin. So we're really excited about that. So Xavier, you sent me this picture and I totally forgot. I was like, oh, hold on, I don't have it on here. Let's talk about Sons of Speed. So I forgot you were in Sons of Speed too.
I was in the very, very first one. I remember Billy, there was a time when Billy came out on the bus with us. I want to say back in 2011 or 2012. And I literally had it was earlier. I think it was like 2007 or 8. I just met him. We just become friends. I was like, listen, man, why don't you come out on the bus, give you a radio, give you a laminate. Nobody's going to say you're Billy from Choppers Inc. and TV. You're just a dude. And that was the beginning of our friendship. And he literally back then had said that he had already started accumulating all these vintage motors. And I was just like, for what? They're like they're pumps and fields. Well, cut to 17? I just left the band, and he's like, hey man, I need you to come to the Sons of Speed race. It's a vintage motorcycle race. And he sends me the picture of what the bike was. And I was like, are you fucking out of your mind? I mean, it was a motor and 10-speed tires, no clutch, no brake, no mirrors, no nothing. It was a death trap. And I'm like, okay, and that was it. And I remember getting on that bike. It was the Perry Mac. I would think it was the 17 Perry Mac. And I just went out there because I wanted to be in the race with him, and it was fun and it was new and it was cool. But man, I got on that bike and I got bit. I was like, oh, this is it. Yes, this is where I want to be. And then I thought, first of all, it's not your motorcycle. Second of all, if you hurt yourself, you can't play drums or motorcycles or anything. You can't make any money. So just take it easy. Cut to, in the first, the night before the first race, everybody was there. Petco, Paul Cox, Stevenson, Barry Wardlaw, and me, and Kiefer, and all these guys, and metals flying, and tools, and welding. And then we're riding these bikes the next day. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was so much fun. I remember thinking that people had not experienced this in over 90 years.
Yeah.
And to cut now to you as a racer, and the field is so huge, and these guys and gals are booking, you guys are up into the 80-mile-per-hour range. And I'm like, no, I'm cool. And I literally, when that started happening, when Moonshiner Josh and eBay Jake and all these other guys started swinging their wieners around because they wanted to see who had the biggest one, I'm like, no way, I'm out. And I love that for those guys. Go on with your bad self. But for me, it was just a fun, cool thing to do with Billy and a bunch of the guys that I was on the bus watching these guys on TV. I was watching your dad on a tour bus, going, we're all measured up here, Bill. And I remember that because I have done that so many times to other guys where they don't measure and they just mess it up. And I use that one all the time from your dad. But that race was so amazing. I have the banner behind me that, man, I get to say I was part of the first race, and I have that picture. You're sitting right next to me on your
That's
bike,
cool.
In my office that Fast Freddy gave me. And I mean, what an experience, and something that a lot of people will never, ever get to do, so I'm super grateful for that, but when it started to turn into that thing, I was like, yeah, I should probably, I'm going to let those
now
guys,
it's time to get real fast.
I'm gonna let those young guns just do what they do because this old dog has seen enough fights. I'm gonna go ahead and just step back. And I love watching them, man. I love watching those guys bar to bar, leaning so far into that bank that you're just waiting.
Dragging his left peg.
Yeah,
Right?
just
ground his peg
yeah,
down on the
yeah,
left.
yeah. And there's and the funny thing with that is you're always gonna have that super amount of testosterone that's going on, and some people don't play by the rules properly, and that's not where it needs to be, because some people can get hurt, and they have gotten hurt, and it's just turned into something that's a lot more elevated and a lot more adrenaline going on, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm cool.
So are you going to come out to it in October?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm always there.
I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's the Saturday of Biketoberfest, maybe like the 15th, October 15th.
Yeah, I think
somewhere
it's the 15th,
around there for anybody watching.
Yeah. Now, where are you set up in Biketoberfest?
I'm High Seas Rally and Providence are always set up at Rossmeyer's at Destination Daytona. So we've made that our home since, I want to say, the first rally back, because it was the best place for us to have the maximum exposure. Like, a lot of the other places are cool, but for the demographic that I felt was necessary to entice people into the cruise, that's where we needed to be. And again, this is the first year that it's happening. So there's so much of a learning curve going on that the powers that be and myself are constantly like, okay, so what's the next move? Where do we go from here? Like when we're in Sturgis, we're set up at Rapid Hills HD. And both of those places really seem to work for us. So we'll see what 23 has to offer,
I would say Rossmeyer's is a good spot too. But
I mean, the traffic is amazing. So
I was kind of thinking about it. Did Miguel call you?
No.
Okay, he's going to call you about Laconia, but he asked me where he could set up for Daytona.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, where are the options besides Rossmeyer's?
Well, I don't know if the track. I'm not sure if the track is doing anything for Biketoberfest or.
I'm not sure. I just know that the staple for anybody that goes to that event is eventually going to cruise through Rossmeyer's.
I agree.
It's just what they do. It's just if you go to Bike Week or Biketoberfest, you're going to do the loop, and you're going to go to Rossmeyer's.
Yeah.
So that was the best place for us to be as far as the business was concerned, because all the other places are cool as well, but they seem to have a little bit more of a party type atmosphere.
Right. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And that's okay too. Trust me. I've fallen over many a time at the Broken Spoke and the Iron Horse and everything else. But for the High Seas Rally in Providence, it was imperative that we be somewhere where we could get the most exposure, bang for the buck, and we could get people interested. We could get people. But that was the thing that I made sure that I kind of emphasized with them, was that, like anything else, we're trying to get new young blood into the High Seas Rally cruise, because if we don't, there's no sustainability. It's much like a rock and roll band. When Aerosmith, AC/DC, and Motley Crue go away, who's taking over the torch? That's just the way that it is. It's the law of life. So we're trying to start now to build brands for the High Seas Rally, as well as getting major sponsors on and people that are in the business. So.
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job. I mean, I see the lineup of, the builders and the people in the industry that are going to be there. And, and I talk to most of them regularly, and everybody's really looking forward to it. But right now, we're looking forward to the smokeout.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't even stand. I mean, I'm so excited for Chris because of the fact that, him and I talk probably 3 or 4 times a week, and we have a relationship besides motorcycles and music. We're genuine friends. And there's a lot of times where he'll go, "Hey dude, so this is what I'm thinking. And I'm like, did you think about that one for a second? Or I'm the first guy to be like, yes, whatever we got to do, let's make it happen. And for him to have that, once again, like Billy did with the Sons of Speed, like Chris had years ago about this. He's like, man, I'm like, dude, that's a serious undertaking, bro. And here we are, less than a week, it's going off. And again, it's the first one back. Is it going to be super huge? Maybe not, but people are going to take notice. But what's going to happen for 23? It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And his whole idea was, man, I just want to get it back to the way it used to be. And I'm like, well, I don't know what it was the way it used to be, but I want to find out. So
Yeah.
once again, he's associated himself with all the right people, and his legends and legacy things and that building. And Randy from Randy Knowles is heading that up. I mean, he's got all the right vendors. He's got great bands. He's got you guys. I mean, it should be a pretty badass time, And again, some cool riding.
Yeah. No, I'm sending my truck and trailer down with a bunch of bikes, and I've rounded up a whole bunch of guys to go down with us. We're gonna fly down to Raleigh, and Mark Hendricks is gonna come and get us. And Mark is really done a good job working with Chris and Heather to organize, a whole hamster event there. So that's really gonna be a cool deal.
Yeah.
Xavier, so the name of your business is Providence Cycle Works. Where'd you get Providence from?
It's not Providence, Rhode Island, that's for sure.
Live in Rhode Island.
I've had
Every
so many
time
people
I
go.
see it, all I can think of is Rhode Island.
I know. It's funny because, again, none of this was supposed to happen. I was never supposed to have a business and an LLC and a logo and all that stuff. It was, something that I was placed in by something bigger and better than myself. And Providence is a term that I took recognition with a long, long time ago, and it means a divine manifestation of care and direction. And I've had that name etched in a book for a very, very long time. And when all of this started, way before it actually started, I had told my brother that, man, one of these days, if I'm out of the rock and roll touring lifestyle, because again, I didn't quit music. I just quit the Buck Cherry business. I still make records. I still play music. I now can pick and choose who and where and what. And I told my brother about it. And lo and behold, about a year later, he goes, oh man, I forgot to tell you, bro. I bought the domain for you. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you have it now. It's yours. And so that's kind of how it started. And when people see the red, white, and blue, and then they see the Texas, they're like, you're not from Providence, Rhode Island. I'm like, no, I'm not, but that's where that came from. So the definition of Providence is where the name came from. So.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering. I was thinking, like, I wonder what Providence even means, because I think
because trust me, guys, for a minute there was a real need for some divine manifestation of care and direction in my life.
Well, I take it you found it.
I to the best of my ability every day. That's all I can concentrate on is right here, right now. I don't have a crystal ball. Mine broke a long, long time ago, man. So, yeah.
All right.
So we've got a lot of listeners. We got Kelly.
Yeah. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly. Dennis Staba. Big D.
That's Big D.
Yeah. Matt Roth. Hey, Matt. Daniel Toast. He's looking forward to going back to racing, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's the same one. I think it's a different.
Isn't that Danny?
Well, I don't know. Does he go by Daniel? Doesn't that say Daniel?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't. Comment if it is.
Yeah.
But and then Tim Gibbons says, are you going to Trog? I so wish we were going to Trog, Tim, but unfortunately we have our own event that same weekend.
Oh yeah, that's the same as the fall.
Yeah, it's the beginning of October.
Yeah, and then Craig Ferry. Hey, Craig. He's down in Florida. He's going to the swap meet at Rossmeyer's on Sunday.
So did you say you're bringing Rick Bray's bike to the smokeout? He's going to be at the smokeout too?
Mm-hmm.
Rick's coming to the smokeout, right?
Yeah, Rick is actually Donnie Luce's pick for the Legacy. So
that's right. I forgot they have that program as well.
Yeah. So Paul, Jeff Cochran, Bill Dodge, Donnie Luce. Who else am I forgetting? Steve Stevens. Yeah, a lot of those guys. So yeah, Rick's one of Rick's bike will be there. It's actually the one that I first actually ever met him in Los Angeles when we did the Golden Bolt run together. And again, none of those guys had ever been in LA, and we had to get from one end of Hollywood back to East LA. And Rick was such a fucking trooper, man. I mean, he was slap shifting that thing. We were running through red lights, and I was on Grace, and I was just like, you guys need to keep up because I'm not stopping. We did a fuel stop at a gas station where none of us shut the bikes off. And I stood there and I just went, and another one, and then I just put it up and I took off. And so I'm bringing that bike, which is always cool to have in my possession because, man, I get to sit there and look at that thing in my garage and go, where does this guy come up with this stuff? Like,
I love that probably everybody except us names their bikes.
Yeah.
We don't have a name ever.
Yeah.
And I got asked that a while back, and I guess I just learned that from like reading all of the Easy Riders. Like Billy would name his bikes, and then Jesse and a bunch of other guys. And I've always named my bikes girls. And somebody asked me like, dude, why don't you name your bike a guy? I'm like, why would I do that? I mean, they're girls to me.
On all motos female. Like cars, is never.
To me, they are. To me, they are. I mean,
you're not gonna name your truck Matt.
No, and why would you name your knucklehead, Mike? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, so anyways, but yeah, Rick will be
Eleanor.
there. Right. The Shelby, Eleanor, got to have it, Yeah. One of the best ones is Fish from Alleyway. He named his bike Francine, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant, But and again, if you ask every builder, I'm sure that every one of those names means something. Like my first Choppers Inc. bike is named Maria after my mom. So they mean something because when they're in that state, and you guys know, when they're in that state and you spend all those months working on it and this doesn't work and that breaks and you don't like that and you change this and you change that, it becomes a personal thing, and maybe other builders are jaded. I don't know. I hope I never get there. But like everything, that process is a relationship. Like when you're dating somebody. And you play ping pong. I hit you the ball, you hit me the ball. And when it's done and it fires up and you take it down the street and it's breathing and it shifts and it breaks and it does all the things you hope it's supposed to, man, you're just like, oh, this is great. And then she goes away and you're like, so.
I guess we don't really, we don't get
but
that.
see, now you guys are thinking, but Dave's been doing this so long. He's just like,
we don't ever. I mean, the biggest confusion here is that I now have two panheads. So when I say I'm going to ride my panhead, DP doesn't know which one. Like, but that's, I mean, because everything else is like my Indian, his soft tail. Like,
right. But
if you name them, then you get too attached.
Right. Which is my problem. Which is where I'm at now. It's like,
I don't need to name them.
Right. And like Chris is always like, I got 16 bikes. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's like 15 too many for me. But, I was told very early on by Mr. Lane, I have to build to sell and sell to build right now. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
Because I got to keep the lights on, and this industry changes. This industry changes quicker, faster, and more aggressively than the music industry ever did. Like that's a complete cakewalk compared to this. I don't know why, but it is. So
yeah, no, I could believe that, and I've always been a firm believer in, building them and selling them, move on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I love the build, but when they're done, I kind of lose interest and I want to move on to the next one.
Right. You're like, okay, been there, done that, got the gray hairs. What's next? And it's funny because
a lot of customers that do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sell it once it's done.
Yeah. Like my drum sets. I mean, I had such an issue with the company that I've endorsed for 20 some odd years because they were like, Xavier, we get it. You're really excited. You make custom paint jobs and all these cool stands. But little Timmy can't go down the street to Guitar Center and buy Xavier Muriel's drum set from Buck Cherry because we don't sell one. And they literally had to make me aware of that. So when I stopped doing all that, I stopped being so emotionally attached to those drum sets. So I still have 4 of them, which will never, ever leave. But like the others, some odd, I was like, okay, yeah, just don't need besides that, I can't play more than one drum set at a time. And I can't ride more than one motorcycle at a time. So But you know, maybe
Yeah.
maybe when I'm 60, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and hold on to everything, you know. But
Yeah.
for right now, that's not the case.
Well, you know, back in the day, back in the 90s, I painted a whole drum set for Ricky Rocket
I remember that.
from
I saw
Poison.
that. I saw that drum set at NAM the same year that I was there at NAM in LA in Anaheim. We
Yeah.
were talking about that because he didn't know that I knew who you were because I wasn't in the industry then. I was still, you know, heavily involved in the band. And he was like, "Do you know who Dave Perowitz is?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." So, and it was a gorgeous, gorgeous paint job. He had it on display at his booth, Rocket Drums. And it was a cool conversation that I was sitting there having with the drummer from Poison, talking about cymbals and sticks and heads, and then going, "Oh yeah, well this drum set, you know, by the mighty DP, man, come on." So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was kind of cool.
I built a couple of bikes for Ricky too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Actually, I built a bike to match the drum set, an FXR.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think he still has it.
Yeah.
I think he recently
I think
posted
he
it.
does.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't have Ricky's number anymore, and I see him. He posts stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I ran into him a few years ago, and we talked for a while. And you know, we were pretty good friends. But if you ever run into him,
Absolutely.
call me.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because when all this started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the drummer that builds motorcycles for drummers. I mean, how cool of a niche would that be? And it's funny because like most of the drummers that I already know have had bikes built by famous guys, Ricky Rocket and DP, and Jeff Cochran did Shannon Larkin from Godsmack. So there's a lot of other guys that I'm still working on, Tommy Lee and, you know, Ray Luzier, Ray Mayorga, guys like that are like, well,
Tommy
you know,
Lee would be wicked cool.
Yeah, and yeah,
those guys still jam out too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I just
in it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my Lena just went to their concert, which I had tickets to. So here's another one like waiting forever. I had tickets to. It was Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and I forget who the fourth one was that I got in 2019. Then they canceled it in 2020. Then they canceled in 21, and then they rescheduled it for when we were in Sturgis.
Of course.
And I tried to get my money back, and I couldn't get my money back for them. So I was so bummed because but Lena went to the concert, and she said that Motley Crue was the best out of all of them, and they jammed out. And I've seen them before. They are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, they still put on an amazing show. And he's such, you know, when you're a 10-year-old kid in Beaumont, Texas, and you decide that you want to be a rock star, and your idol is Tommy Lee, never in a million years would you ever guess that your second major tour would be opening up for Motley Crue, and literally having that man stand behind me every single night with a bottle of Jaeger during Crazy Bitch going, you know, and
so
it
cool.
was unbelievable. And so many times, like, I would be on his bus or we would be in the dressing room, and I'm like, this is not happening. This is not happening, you know? So when they decided, when the tour was actually going to happen, we exchanged a couple of messages, and he was like, "Are you going to come out, man? You going to come out?" And I'm like, you know, dude, maybe. So there's a show in Dallas here pretty soon that I may go to, but it's such a really tight organization now because of still all of the pandemic stuff, because you got to remember, much like everything in our industry, if one guy gets it in a 175 or 190 person crew, the whole thing comes to a screeching halt. And money. And unfortunately, in a contract, they don't consider that an act of God. So, but yeah, he's, you know, and again, I'm super blessed because I got to do that, be with that cat, hang out. And then some of my, you know, closest friends in the motorcycle industry are guys that I used to watch on TV and just be like, oh, how do they do that? Where do they, you know, how does Dave remember that line goes this way and that tape has to go this way? But if you cut that one, it screws up that flame. And then I'm like,
was Motley Crue who was your favorite band you toured with?
Wow. I'd probably have to say Motley. And here's why. Because he was the reason why I play drums. And the first time we ever did a tour of Japan was the first time I met him. And I showed up with, I kid you not, Jody, a bag of stuff that I had been collecting since I was 13. And check this out. This is going to trip you out as much as it tripped him out. When Tommy Lee was 17, he was in a band called Sweet 19, like a hotel, Sweet 19 in Hollywood. He played with them for about a year. They broke up. Those guys moved to Austin. Tommy stayed in Hollywood and started Motley. Sweet 19 needed a drummer. I was the drummer in Sweet 19. We did a bunch of shows in the Texas area. So I had a sticker and a ticket from the Ritz Theater in Austin, Texas, Sweet 19 and special guest.
That's cool.
In that bag. And I took it to his personal assistant. And I said, Tony, I need you to get this to Tommy. I don't want to bother him. Have him sign a couple of the things and then get it back to me. And if you don't, I'm going to find you and I'm going to cut your balls off. 2 days later, I get the package back. Tommy shows up, or his bodyguard, Earl, shows up and says, Tommy wants to see you in his dressing room after the show. And this is in Osaka, Japan. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. So, or no, it was before the show. So I go over there about 20 minutes before we're supposed to go on stage and an hour before Motley's supposed to go on. I walk in the dressing room and Tommy takes this sheet and he goes, and there's a table of red Solo cups filled with Jägermeister. And he goes, you and me, bro, you on one side, me on the other. Let's go. And I go, okay. And we must have downed at least 15 shots. And they weren't small shots. They were big, right? So that was my first introduction to Tommy. And I remember I had already played. He still had to go on and play. And he did. And I remember going, I got about 20 minutes before this is going to kick in. Needless to say, they found me in some other part of the arena, and I don't remember the rest. But because of those emotional things, you know, definitely my favorite band. And him and I got to spend my 40th birthday with him in Darien Lake, New York. Remind me to tell you the story on the boat, Jody. You'll just be like, oh my God.
Say, we'll have to talk about this stuff on the boat. So
well, we'll have plenty of time for lots of stories on the boat.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So they legit like the movie The Dirt. Did you see that documentary? Or, like, not a documentary, but like,
you know,
about them. It was pretty good.
No, it was good. You know, the thing about it is when you've been such a fan, and I am, for so long, you know a lot of the details that a lot of other people don't know. Yeah. And then when you get to actually be on the road with them and see how they actually are as people, not as rock stars. Yeah. You kind of understand a little bit more, but yeah, very much so. The Dirt was a lot of how the book was. And you know, I still watch that movie just because it's cool, because it reminds me of when I was 21 and standing under the whiskey and the Roxy going, I am actually playing in the places that Van Halen, The Doors, Motley, Poison, Warrant, Rat, Dokken, all those bands. And yes, I'm showing my age. But I don't care. I'm you know, in the band, they used to call me Heavy Metal Hav because I knew all that stuff. But it was a cool movie to watch. And then when you read the book and then you kind of know a lot more of the background, a lot of it was very, very true. A lot of it, you know.
Yeah, very cool.
We got Wink Eller on here. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Wink says, hey, Dave, how many bikes have you built in the past that you have searched out and bought back? Well, I'll tell you, that's a good question.
It is.
I am always looking for my old stuff. And, you know, literally I've built hundreds and hundreds of bikes, and they are extremely hard to find. I have bought quite a few back, especially the pro street stuff. Mm-hmm. But, man, the stuff from like the 70s and even the 80s, I searched that stuff out constantly, and very, very hard. But right now, what I'm building, I've got a 57 Sportster that I built in 1978 as a custom. It was on the cover of Street Chopper magazine. You know, I sold it right away. Well, I bought it back about 5 years ago. All in pieces, it was junk. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've done everything over, repainted it, re-chromed it, did the motor, and I'm assembling it right now, and it's going to be exactly like it was in 1978. And to tell you the truth, this is the bike that I'm hoping to bring on the cruise.
Awesome.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot, though.
No, I said I'm
You
going to
didn't say
try.
that yet.
That's all. I'm going to try. No pressure.
You know, they keep asking us, like, oh, what bikes are you gonna bring? And we're both like,
I don't know what bikes we're going to bring. It depends what's done by then.
yeah, you give us the date of when they're picking them up, and we'll tell you the day before.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if a bike's going to be done, if we're still going to have it, if it's not going to be
Yeah.
sold, if it's even going to be here. Like, it's so hard to say, okay, this bike. You know?
I mean, somebody might call me next week
Mhm.
with one of my old bikes that I buy back, and so we don't know. We kind of play that by ear,
Yeah.
I mean, we got a showroom full of them, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we don't have enough to fill the void.
Yeah. Also, I see on here, Crazy Chuck.
Oh,
You
Crazy
got it.
Chuck.
Yeah, you know Crazy Chuck, Xavier.
Mhm.
We'll see you. He says, let's go cruising on the high seas. So, Chuck, does that mean you're coming on the cruise?
Oh yeah,
Let's
Chuck
go.
is coming on the cruise.
Let's see.
No
There you
way.
go.
Yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
him in Sturgis, he
Oh,
told me
man,
that
that's
he
gonna
was
be
coming on the
entertaining.
cruise.
Chuck, sneak
Yeah.
some moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also Bryce, what's up, Bryce? Thanks for sponsoring the chase. Stuart Ellis. So I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but he's a painter.
Okay.
I think Stuart. I think you're from the North Carolina area, but
yeah, he's going to be at the smokeout.
Yeah, he's painting a bike. He's tagged us on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And he's painting it for the show.
Oh, okay.
But I owe him. I'll give you a couple shirts, so you got to give him.
Okay.
So Stuart,
Yeah.
find DP.
Yeah, and Wink's going to keep his eye open for one of my old builds. There's quite a few of them in California, or that I've sold out in California, so you never know.
Yeah, and I saw that was Dan Toach.
Yeah, right.
For some reason, I didn't think it was. The little bubble is like so tiny, I can't see the Facebook.
Yeah,
thing.
and Flea's on. Hey, Flea.
Yeah. Oh, Annie. Hi,
Yeah.
Annie and Gary.
Yeah, and Woody.
Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Woody? I haven't seen you on here in a while. You've been slacking.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to take up much more of your time, Xavier. I know you're busy.
all good.
Gotta get work done to keep the lights on at the moment. But we will see you, or DP will see you next weekend at the Smokeout.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then I'll see you at Biketoberfest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then obviously the High Seas Rally, which all of us, all three of us will be on the High Seas Rally. Let me put that up. It's October 29th to November 5th. Go to highsearallies.com. If you guys want to come on a cruise, it's a 7-day cruise, going to a bunch of islands. It's definitely going to be a good time. So it's all motorcycle themed cruise. So if you guys are into motorcycles, obviously you are, if you're watching us, you can also win this bike. If you're coming on the cruise, your name gets automatically entered to win that bike. And hopefully a female wins it. And I think that's it. Yeah. All right. You got to pump anything else?
If any of the invited builders that are coming on the ship are watching, remember, you guys have to build something for the auction. So here's what I'm doing. So I got to figure out how I'm doing this. So get to work, fellas.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you
All
guys
right,
so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Xavier.
All right, guys. So that was our show today. Thanks to Indian Motorcycles and Lawn Tigers for sponsoring Chopper History. We will be back next week for another show. Which actually, are you leaving on Thursday or Friday?
Next week?
Yeah.
I'm leaving Thursday.
Okay, so I might be doing a show by myself, but either way, we will have a show next Thursday. We'll see who I can get to come on here with me. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please share and like and comment, even if it's just a wave in the comment, because this is what keeps our numbers up so that we can keep doing these shows for you guys and bringing you guests. And also, if you have any comments on who you want us to interview or even places you want us to go. Let me know. I'm always up for ideas. And shout out to Sean Jackson, which is Competition Distributing. DP actually had his shirt on, if any of you guys noticed. Competition is my sponsor for the Chase, which is in 2 weeks. I leave 2 weeks from yesterday. So I'm pretty excited about that cross-country endurance race. Myself, Sean, and George are going to be riding from Springfield, Illinois to Santa Monica. So Route 66. Hopefully I'll be able to do a show from that. I'm not sure times, dates, any of that. So you just have to stay tuned. All right. I think that's it. See you guys next week.